the illusion of control, the illusion of choice, the illusion of happiness. See, those are things that I understand because I'm older than you. I've lived through more than you have, so I understand that in your youth, you chase mirages in the desert, things that the idea of them only exists because you continue to put faith in those concepts. As far as choice, as far as control, as far as happiness, it's funny, let's start with control. I think that's what really psychologically is such an attack on so many young guys, is they're starting to have a receding hairline or diffusing or whatever it is, where their hair's changing, and they end up on the shores of my channel watching my videos. This concept of control, they want to control their hair loss. You know, that's why here recently, it's got to the point where people will leave comments and say, Nick, can I send you a picture of my hair? You know, I want you to tell me if my hairline's receding. You know, and I used to, you know, respond to those, and most of the time it was no big deal. It was like Norwood one. But then I got tired of responding to them, because ultimately they always followed up with, you know, if it was maybe a Norwood 2 and it was starting to mature but not necessarily be balding yet, there was follow-up question was, well, what can I do about it? And you know, that's not my thing. My thing is not to stop hair loss, it's to embrace it for me personally. So I can't really, I mean, if you want to know how to stop hair loss, Google it and find something you're willing to spend money on. But ultimately, if there was a cure for hair loss and we all knew it, this channel wouldn't exist. People wouldn't subscribe to it if we wouldn't be looking for a cure if there was one. That's so obvious to me. But people want to have control over their hair loss. And for me, the only control is just to get rid of the hair if it bothers you that bad. All right. But also the illusion of choice. All right. Well, I mean, it is, I guess, a choice. If you're balding, you can shave it off. You can take Propecia. You can get a hair transplant. You have those choices, you know, and whatever you got to do to make yourself feel confident despite your hair loss. I don't know. Here's how I feel about it, though. Again, I'm a balding advocate, so naturally I'm going to say shave it off. But here's what it makes me think of. Let's say that there's a family, and someone in that family is murdered. Man, this is getting dark all of a sudden. Okay, someone in the family is murdered. Okay, and they find the person who murdered that person in their family, and you know, they're all emotional, and they're like, I want that person to fry in the electric chair. I want them to die. That's what I deserve for that person to die, because they took my joy away when they killed that person in my family, right? And that's what they say. But in real life, studies have shown that people who, once the murderer of that family member, you know, is given the death penalty and dies, is, you know, that person, the survivors don't feel any better. Eliminating that person from the planet doesn't take away their hurt. It doesn't solve the problem. But it's that illusion of choice, and it's the same thing with hair. At least you feel like you have some kind of control over it. It's an illusion, if you ask me. And then happiness. Let's talk about happiness. Ooh, what a dangerous word. Being the alpha male of hair loss, I am very careful to use the word happiness and happy. Because when we talk about being happy, we talk about about deserving to be happy. And Nick Shell doesn't deserve anything. I don't deserve anything, because the moment I say that I do or believe that I deserve something, then somebody owes me something. Ugh, I'm an alpha male. People don't owe me anything. Because if people owe me something, then I'm at their mercy. And alpha males aren't at other people's mercy. In the same way, I don't allow other people to control my emotions. In the same way, I know that I get to be in charge of my emotions. I get to be in control of forgiving another person, which is always the right decision. Because in the history of the world, people have forgiven people for certain things, whereas other people say, I could never forgive someone. Well, look at this person. They forgave something, and it was even worse than the thing that you won't forgive that other person for. See, I'm an alpha male. I've got to have control over my own emotions, over the ability to forgive people. You know, so happiness, it just buys in this concept that I deserve it. I deserve this. Well, if you deserve things, then all day long, people are going to be hurting you and offending you and owing you. No, not for me, not an alpha male. So I believe definitely, as it relates to hair loss, people live in this illusion that there's control and that there is choice and that there's happiness. You know, happiness is such a flighty thing. I think once you understand that choice and control and happiness are an illusion, if anything's going to make you happy, it's probably knowing that all of those don't really exist to begin with. You're welcome. By the way, I'm Nick Shell, and I'm the only alpha male of hair loss.